Two of the hottest selling minis in America are the Chevy Vega and this, the Ford Pinto Runabout. Our Pinto Tester is the sport version, loaded with everything from two-tone paint job to special wheels and interior trim. Oh yes, and a window sticker price tag of $3,918. For this price, you get fresh air and all the elements right through the roof. The little horse has a four-cylinder inline engine, 140 cubic inches worth, fed through a two-barrel carburetor and an automatic transmission. The Vega also has a 140 cubic incher with four inline cylinders and a two-barrel car. And to keep everything even, another automatic transmission. The tester we used for the Vega was this wagon featuring the deluxe wood grain trim, a special interior, plus a similar $3,900 price tag. We took the Vega off the line first and clocked a 0 to 60 run in 5.3 seconds. 45 miles per hour took 10 seconds flat. Our car had the 292 rear axle ratio, which replaced last year's 336. The third time we popped the little Chevy out of the hole, we headed for 60 miles an hour. It happened after 16.2 seconds. During all runs, noise was less noticeable than on previous models. The Pinto compared quite favorably in acceleration runs. 30 miles an hour took 5.8 seconds. The Scat to 45 stopped the clock in 9.8 seconds. The 2-liter engine is now standard on all Pinto models and really hypos the performance figures. Our 0 to 60 run ate up 16.4 seconds on the clock. It took the Vega 6.9 seconds to move the speedo needle from 30 to 50 miles per hour. The Pinto Runabout ran the same spread in 6.6 seconds. These passing times are pretty important, especially when you relate it to getting around a truck on a two-lane road. The Vega moved from 50 to 70 miles per hour in 10 seconds. The Pinto was a shade quicker on the same run, clocking a 9.8 seconds. We rated the Pinto a little higher in acceleration and passing runs. In the braking test, we found both cars to have discs up front with drums in the rear. On the Vega's first run from 30 miles per hour, it took 30 feet to stop. The 50-mile-an-hour stop chewed up 91 feet before we brought it to a halt. From 70 with cold brakes, the Vega made this stop in 192 feet. There was a slight pull to the left. However, nosedive was not noticeable, nor was pedal fade. The brakes dissipated heat rapidly. Our Pinto used up 29 feet in a stop from 30. A little correction was necessary to keep it in a straight line. From 50, 89 feet. The stop from 70 took quite a bit of correction, and it still wandered off to the left. 188 feet later, it came to a halt. Nosedive and pedal fade were quite noticeable, and there was some degree of heat buildup. While the Pinto had shorter stopping distances, we have to give the nod to the Vega in the braking department. The overall weight of the Vega was increased over last year's model. This showed up in the pylon runs. Recovery was not too good, especially toward the end of the run. I think you'll agree that rebound and recovery were better in the Pinto. It seemed far more stable. New chassis springs and shocks were added to the Vega to compensate for the increase in weight. However, we felt that they could have been a little stiffer. The car seemed floppy through the cones. The Pinto felt so much more solid through the pylons that we filmed this run in slow motion. Handling characteristics were a strong point in the Pinto in '73. This year, it's even better. They improved the suspension front and rear, and as you can see, stability was excellent. On the track during high-speed cornering, we noticed that body lean was quite pronounced on the Vega, and the front end had a tendency to wash out. We couldn't help but think that perhaps some of the knowledge that Ford gained in racing was reflected in the handling performance of this little car. On this new Pinto, they went to larger rubber bushings on the inboard side of the upper and lower control arms, softer bushings on the top and bottom of the shocks, with 2-inch longer springs. These changes made for a smoother, quieter ride. The Vega was softer and the overall ride factor was more comfortable, but in high-speed cornering, it had a tendency to wallow. The Pinto, on the other hand, felt extremely solid through the corners and took all that the engine had to offer. For the ultimate test of suspension systems, we ran both cars through the reverse spin. This run with the Pinto was done in slow motion. Even with the slack out of the suspension, body lean was not excessive. Here's the Vega. We found the Pinto to be tops in acceleration, passing ability, and overall handling. The Vega had more interior room and a softer, more comfortable ride, and was perhaps a little more quiet. These two cars will stage a head-to-head fight this year for sales leadership. However, they'll both have plenty of competition from the imports.